Okay, so welcome back to lab 3, and here we're talking about storage on Google Cloud. What I'm going to do here in this lab is create a cloud storage bucket, put an image into it, and then configure an application in Compute Engine with PHP to use Cloud SQL, right? So let's see what we got to do. The first thing we need to do is create an instance in Compute Engine. So we're going to move over to Compute Engine, instances, create instance, and we're going to name this instance block host. Then we need a region and zone. So for us, it's Central 1, Central 1A, that's correct. For machine type, we're just going to use the default available. For boot disk, we're going to check what we have available. Debian Linux 12. You actually need Debian Linux 11 for this specific lab, so just change that. It does need to be, yeah. Oh, sorry. Got the wrong one. So there are Linux 11 versions available in both ARM and x86. So Intel. We'll use the latter one. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're okay with that. Then on identity and API access, we're going to be okay. Firewalls, we want to allow HTTP traffic just to test that things work properly. And then we want to open up advanced options. And for management, we want to be able to create a startup script. And what that startup script does is it basically installs Apache, PHP, and then the PHP MySQL. I don't know if that's a driver or kind of compatibility. So that's kind of what we're looking for here. And then everything else can be as it is. And we're going to create the instance. Now waiting for it to be created, just a sec. So while it is creating, let's continue. We need to create a cloud storage bucket. I'm going to do that using Cloud Shell. So I'm just going to activate Cloud Shell here. Get rid of those tutorials again. We don't have enough screen space as it is anyway. Okay, so we're here. So let's set up a location for our Cloud Shell bucket. And then create a Cloud Shell bucket with the name of our project ID, which is going to be unique. That should go through. We need to authorize Cloud Shell to be able to do that. That's fine. And now it has been done. So let's copy a picture from a publicly available bucket into the Cloud Shell instance itself. And then let's copy that over into our newly created bucket. There we go. And then we're going to change the ACL, the access control list for our bucket for that specific object to allow all users to read that picture. That's done. So now basically what we could do is go over to cloud storage. And make the cloud shell a bit smaller. And you can see that we've created this bucket in here, and in there we have one picture. And then that picture actually happens to be publicly available. So if you use this URL, you can see that there's a picture called that looks like this, My Excellent Blog. Okay, so next up, let's create a SQL instance. Right, so through to SQL. And then here we want to create an instance. And for the database engine, we're suggested to use MySQL. Maybe not my personal choice, but it is what it is. Inside B is supposed to be the blog database, and then the password is supposed to be. I'm going to use a password that we use very often. So P, I'm just going to show it to you as well. All right, so P at $WORD, right? So a elite way of writing password. For the SQL edition, we're going to use just Enterprise, not Enterprise Plus, to get cheaper option. And then from the drop down, we're not going to use this for production. This is just a test case, so the sandbox option should be proper for us. Further down, we're happy with a single zone availability. So that basically means that our prices go down as we are kind of removing options. So this time, the resource costs are 14 cents per hour. So something we can live with for our specific use case. Create instance. And then it's being created. I'm going to pause the video here. Come back to you in just a sec. Okay, and we're done. So this took about 8 minutes for me when I was running this lab. So next, what we need to do is we need to create a user account for our instance, right? So we're going to go to users. We have a root user here. I'm going to add a new user account. It's going to be a blog database user, and the password is going to be. Show it to you again. My ingenuity in here is going to be password, right? You allow from any host and just add. Cool. And this is kind of the level that we can use to administer our SQL instance. We can do stuff like this, like add users from the Google Cloud UI. From a connections point of view, we need to make sure that we can connect to the database from our Cloud Engine instance. Okay, so what we want to do here is networking, and we have a public IP currently. We're going to add a network over here. And then we want to name it something like the web front end, one word, right? Network, and that's going to be the blog host network. So let me. I forgot the IP address already. Let's go to Compute Engine Virtual Instances in a different tab. So it's 10.128.0.2 on the private side, but then on the external side, it's going to be this one. Use that external IP. And then add that. And then it's a /32, right? So just a single instance. Cool, so done. That's added there. Now should work. And then we're going to go to save the configuration change. It's going to take a while to get through. And then we should be okay. So next up, let's get to our virtual machine instance. It's back here. Get rid of those Cloud Shell options. And we're just going to SSH into that instance. Like this. There we go. And then by default, we're going to use the /HTML directory for stuff. Oops. There's an index.html there. Let's just create a index.php. Should take preference. And then we want to put the HTML file that's given to us into that thingy, right? So welcome to my excellent blog. We have different kinds of parameters in there. And then we're going to do a connection to the database right here. Okay, so that's all cool. Going to write that down. Now we might need to restart the web server. So let's just kind of do that on the safe side. Service Apache 2 restart. Cool. And now let's take a look at that index.php site. So we're just going to go to the other browser. And in there, we're going to put the IP address /index.php. Did that work? Database connection failed. Well, that's okay, right? We didn't set up the IP address and the password for the database. So let's go back to SSH and edit that. Okay. So what we need here is, oops, sorry, the IP address of the actual Cloud SQL service. And where can we get that from? Oh yeah, it's here, right? So this is our public IP address. Let's just put that in there. Sorry about that. I went into the wrong place. Insert that like this. And then we had a password that we set up. I need to set that over here as well. Oops. It's going to be PASSORD, right? This should work. Now we've updated that. Again, we might need to restart Apache. Just do that on the safe side, to be on the safe side. And then see how our web page changes when we refresh. Access denied. I seem to have mistyped the password, right? We get the correct answer. I just wrong password probably. Let me just try to see if I can fix that. I think I did this correctly. I need to use something weird like this. To be able to get there. Yeah, now the connection succeeded. So I used some special characters in the passwords, and that's why it didn't work. But then when I enclosed them into single quotes, then it started working. Okay, cool. So next thing that we need to take a look at is try to connect a cloud storage object with our compute. So let's go over to cloud storage. And here we have a bucket. And in that bucket, there is the myexcellentblog.png, right? So there is a public URL available right here. This copy URL will give us URL for that. Now, if you go back to our SSH session, one of the things that we could do is just go through to the beginning of the page. So just after the header, welcome to my blog, add, and what we could do is put in img.src. So the image source is that URL. Oops. Yeah, it's correct. Yeah. And then close that. Oops. Like this. And then save the web page. And again, restart the server. And now, if everything goes all right, refresh this website, and we're going to get our marvelous image in there. Cool. So that's how that works. Thanks very much for watching, and see you in the next lab. Till then.